Released nearly 12 years ago, this here is an old Alienware Aurora R4. Now, I picked this up recently for 100 Australian dollars, which is roughly around 60 USD, which when this PC was first released, it was a whopping 1,800 US dollars. To put that into perspective, that's over 2,700 Australian dollars. And if we look at the discount we're getting all these years later, we're paying pennies on the dollar for this PC. However, rightfully so that we're paying pennies on the dollar here, because this PC features a mind-boggling 8 gigabytes of DDR3 memory, an i7-3820, and a GTX 660. Now also, this PC originally came with no SSD, but the way I bought it, it also came with no hard drive. So what we're going to do right now is just see if this PC works in its current configuration. That is, if we can get a boot signal, and whether it does or not, we're going to try and get it working optimally, in that we're going to change over some memory, upgrade that to 16 gigabytes, add in an SSD, and then clean this thing up and see what kind of performance we can get from an under $100 gaming PC in 2024.
Never pay full price for Windows 10 or 11 again. With today's video sponsor, USED Keys, you can get activated for as little as $15 using that coupon BFTYC. Links in the description below.
So we've now got this thing booted up and it is working absolutely fine on its first boot. So it looks like nothing's wrong. There's no blaringly obvious noises coming out of it. It seems like everything's okay, albeit very dirty. But one thing is, I am using a different monitor. Ironically, it is a Dell monitor. And the reason I have to use this monitor is because it only has DVI on the back here, 2 DVI ports, and a mini HDMI. And so this monitor I've got here that I usually use only has HDMI and display ports. So I'm just really surprised why the companies, like, I get the DVI thing. It was 2012. DVI was very popular. Back in 2012, it was actually probably one of the more dominant monitor types. But what is it with these companies putting on mini HDMI connectors and mini DisplayPort connectors, especially when you've got a full-sized ATX desktop PC? As for me personally, it's just something that's always pissed me off about desktops. Like, on a laptop, I get it. You got to save a lot of room, you got to save space. Maybe a mini HDMI or a mini DisplayPort makes sense, but on a full-size desktop, come on, Dell. What were you guys thinking? But another thing is too, this PC, I'm going to get into some of the things that have already annoyed me. And it's just, you open up the case and there's all these inscriptions and all this fancy artwork inside the case. And who's going to benefit from this? It's just like wasted money on this PC. Something to the likes of, why did they do this? Waste all this money on inscriptions and all this stuff inside the PC, but then on the back of the PC, not even put a switch on the power supply. So there's certain things here that are just really questionable about this whole make and model. It's almost like Alienware had access to a punch bowl with unlimited money pouring out of it. Oh wait, 2012? That's pretty much exactly what happened. Though the weirdest thing, and probably the coolest thing about this case, is these fan vents here. They open and close whenever you turn on and off the PC, kind of to fit that alien theme. But seriously though, all this wasted money on all this crap, I'm just gonna call it crap, and then you leave 8 gigabytes of RAM and a GTX 660. It wasn't even a 660 Ti. Well, I've actually got to go into Windows and check now, so let's get on to cleaning this thing up and then changing over the DDR3 RAM and seeing what comes out of it. So finished cleaning up our Alienware PC. It is all up and running, beautifully booted to Windows first go. Except there's one big problem, and that is we have here a GTX 555. And I thought it would be at least a GTX 660 because that's what all the Alienwares on the website said they had in this spec. And I kind of knew something was wrong when I was cleaning the GPU with that massive sort of heat sink over the GPU die. That was sort of a thing in the GTX 500 series, but wasn't around on the GTX 600 series. So I kind of knew something was wrong already there, but now booting it up, we got this GPU right here. This thing is honestly, guys, it's not even going to boot up any of the games that I intended to see how the FPS performs. So we are going to have to we've upgraded the RAM to 16 gigabytes, but now we're going to have to add in, I think we're going to try and add in something a little more contemporary. We did pick up a GTX 1660 6 gigabyte, so we're going to add that in now and see how this thing performs, because the GTX 555, it just won't even load up the games.
I know I can trust you guys. I know I can trust you guys.
So we've just finished now playing 3 different games on this Alienware R4, and we had to spend money to upgrade the PC. So I just had to put in a GTX 1660, and I had to put in an SSHD and upgrade it to 16 gigabytes of RAM, because this is what the FPS numbers were even in this configuration. And the first game was RoboCop, where we got on low settings at 1080p 37 average FPS. And then we went over to do CS2, Counter-Strike 2, and that was running around 100 FPS, and the 0.1% lows were actually decent too. So this was a very playable experience, even with the i7-3820 and the 16 gigabytes of DDR3 memory, which both were untuned. Because here's another negative about this Alienware, is that the BIOS is so limited. It didn't even have the options to lock in any sort of XMP profiles in it, and I didn't want to waste a whole day running through a heap of different manual tunings, maybe to get an extra couple of FPS, because even in its current state, we saw in a lot of the games, especially RoboCop for example, the GTX 1660 was still being limited to near 100%, which means that the GPU was pretty much getting maxed out, even with an i7-3820. Now the last game we had up here was Dota 2, and this was at 1080p high settings, and we got around 73 average FPS, and I managed to play a game absolutely fine in turbo mode with one of my favorite characters, and that's Slark. Then the final thing to talk about is the temperatures. Whilst we're in games, we had under 70 degrees on the CPU, which is absolutely fine, and the GPU went around the mid 70s. That was the maximum temperature I saw. So mediocre case in the terms of cooling potential, and a mediocre water cooler, especially for a stock i7-3820. Though, that's where the good news ends for this Alienware Aurora R4. As we said in the intro, I was kind of surprised with some of the things automatically out of the gate from getting this PC. Just the sheer amount of artwork and lights that you don't really even see, especially during the day. They're unnoticeable because they're all behind the closed off case with no see-through panel. And then you've got a button on the front here which has RGB lights on it, and it then releases the front bay for your DVD drive. And then you've got the mechanics on the top here for the Alienware fan blades. And all that extra engineering, and I just call it waste of money, and they give you a GTX 555. Like, I didn't even know this graphics card existed before doing this video. And it's got 1 gigabyte of VRAM on it. And it's the sad thing is, at the time, this was actually released, this particular model here, it had in the BIOS, it was released in 2013. There was much better graphics cards available at that time. So I can see how Alienware just got such a bad name over the years, because they're wasting all this time and money on these fancy cases instead of just giving you a good graphics card. I mean, the motherboard and the CPU, they're okay,
And then the 8 gigabytes of RAM was very questionable, especially if it was $1,800 back in 2012. I mean, that's an insane amount of money to pay for a PC back then and get these kinds of specs, especially like a GTX 555. I'm still baffled by this graphics card and why they put this in some of these machines. I guess the US model got a GTX 660, but then the rest of the world, they're like, you know, how can we just give them less and still charge a high amount of money? And so I guess that's what they came up with back in the day. Though the final question you may have on your mind after all that is this Aurora R4, this old used banger, worth it for 100 Australian dollars? And I would say if it's for personal consumption and you can source other parts cheap enough, it's not bad, especially since we could also upgrade the CPU to a 3930K or something like that. You could get a 6-core 12-thread in there, a Xeon as well, E5, I think it's a 1650, maybe a V2, and you could also put in 32 gigabytes of RAM. So there are some options here to upgrade this thing on the cheap, but at the same time, the case is just so bad. For me personally, I'm going to be looking at reselling this thing, and case swapping it, I just think is out of the question. It's going to take way too much time to case swap this thing. There's a lot of proprietary gear in here, and it's just not going to be worth the time it's going to take me to do that. But all up, for this PC, I'm in the hole for about 250 Australian dollars, and it does an okay job. So I think for personal use, going to be okay. For reflipping, that remains to be seen. I don't know how much I'll be able to resell this thing for, but I think at 100 Australian dollars, it was right around a fair deal. Do let us know, however, in the comments section what you guys think about today's banger old school used Aurora R4. Love reading your thoughts and opinions as always. And with that aside, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, ring that bell, and I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.